If it ever turns out we are inside a simulation, what makes it kind of obvious in hindsight? The universal speed limit being so low that almost none of the universe needs to be simulated in any real detail. Yeah. We really need to upgrade our video card so we can up the draw distance. Edit. All you methodicas need to go to /r/outside. I once was walking home drunk and a light pole only rendered after I walked into it, I swear. Everyone having the same conversations over and over. The fact that people keep trying to get me to show them how to make concentrated dark matter. Yeah, weird. Out of curiosity, how do you make concentrated dark matter? Better question. Just how familiar is he with the Gear Wars? How fake the sky looks at times. I swear, half the time the clouds in my area look painted on. The sky gets so weird sometimes. People are making a lot of comparisons to the Matrix, but I could see the simulation of our lives being like the Truman Show. The sky and the painted on clouds are just a part of the set. Bernie Madoff made off with everyone's money. Anthony Weiner has repeatedly been caught sending pictures of his PP. Come on, that's just lazy writing that no fiction editor would accept. I mean, a guy named Usain Bolt is the fastest man on earth. I mean, come on. The constant recycling of faces. Yup. And now that we have the internet, the truth can't be hidden anymore. It's not even just that. I've seen Anne Margaret's face pop up on more new actresses than I can even believe. I'm not complaining. Anne Margaret was fine as heck. And they're straight up just cloning that Zooey Deschanel in a lab somewhere and slapping singer/actress/girl you saw on the freeway stickers on them. This thread, clearly a ploy to survey awareness within the simulation. Stay woke people. That sometimes I'll think of a song randomly and few moments later, I'll hear it somewhere around me. Having a dream about someone you haven't seen in a long time, then seeing their IRL the next day. Or just thinking something, then the next moment somebody says what you were thinking. The sun and the moon are the exact same apparent size in the sky. The sun is something like 400x bigger and also 400x farther away. This trips me out every day. Think about, it has to be one of the biggest coincidences of all time. What makes it even more amazing is that it's only a recent phenomenon. Millions of years ago the moon was a lot closer and is slowly moving away from us at about 1 centimeter a year. Give it a few more million years and it won't be the same apparent size as the sun. Since the moon is moving farther away, is the distance it moves each year getting larger exponentially? Like, as it gets farther away, Earth's gravity has a weaker effect on it. You know when you walk into a room and forget what you're doing, that's the simulation freeing up RAM. I always figured it's like when you tell a sim to do something then cancel the action. So many things taste like chicken, like it is the default taste of meat when another taste isn't programmed in. But that one kinda makes sense. It's the taste of that kind of muscle. In The Sims, you tend to have a couple of favorite families with gigantic houses and tons of money. Everyone else lives in poopy little houses with poopy jobs. That sounds a lot like our world. Duck you whoever is playing the Sims version I'm in. Yeah, duck you. Make me rich you son of a bicycle. I don't give a poop if you take the ladder out of the pool. I'm too poor to afford one anyway. No alien life discovered. You're looking at M, son. The Planck length. Basically, the universe has a maximum resolution, and there can be 2 points that are not touching that are so close together that nothing could exist between them. The pixel eye roll. It's 2016 and printers are all garbage. And a majority of routers as well. Deja vu, sometimes it's so strong, you have to believe that there is something up. I don't have deja vu anymore. I dream something, and then a few days later something 99% similar happens. Like in my dream it went one way, but in reality it went a different way. And then you remember, not just the dream, but the perception that the you back then had when you dreamt it. The fact that most of us have no clue about what we are doing. I'm eating fries. I have a belly button. Nearly everything is explainable through mathematical formulas. To be fair though, I would imagine that is because that is kind of what we created mathematics to do. Every couple of years I would have math teacher pose the question, is math invented or discovered? I like to think it's discovered. We don't create math, we just find more to it. The techniques are invented, the relationships are discovered. When I think tilde, a console pops up in my field of vision. Is it a sign? When the console appears, try thinking and bind all and see what happens. How to become a vegetable tutorial. Quantum mechanics. All of it. Let me update this a bit by saying basically all of modern physics. This is one of my favorite theories because it's just so entertaining, but the more I think about it, the more plausible it becomes. So, the thought is to prove we are in a simulation, we would need to look for several types of evidence. Arbitrary constants/limits, for instance the speed of light being an absolute speed limit. Bugs/errors, for instance rounding errors causing an increase in energy in a system. For instance a universe that is not only expanding, but the rate of expansion is increasing with no detectable energy source fueling it. Or fundamental laws of physics being broken at extreme values. For instance lots of behavior related to black holes. Signs of optimization, for instance fundamental forces which appear to behave differently at different scales due to different algorithms used at those scales. For instance how gravity currently seems to act, or things outside of normal perception. For instance electrons, photons, etc. appearing to be an easy to compute probability field when unobserved, but more expensive to compute discrete particles when directly observed. Which is what you see in quantum mechanics and such. Violations of absolute limits. For instance gravitational effects appearing to travel faster than the speed of light. The effects of quantum entanglement, if real, would be another example. Edit, see below. I'm a programmer. I work on simulations, games, a lot, and I do a fair bit of optimization work. The type of weirdness we are seeing on the massive scale, astrophysics, and minuscule scale, particle physics and quantum physics, resembles exactly the type of optimization I would try to do for a large simulation like this. People deciding that it'd be a good idea to give a snail $1 million. Whenever I lose some things and can never find them, even after checking every single possible place in my house, some ducker is deleting random things to make room on the universe's hard drive. That we've been making movies and stories about it for so long, but it's just being called fiction. This thread doesn't look like anything to me. A lot of the background conversations I listen in on sound very basic/generic and sometimes even fake. I heard a couple tonight say Ohio State 5 times in a row with nothing in between at a restaurant. I wouldn't have gone to college if it wasn't for that horse. That our bodies can't function without sleep, battery must be low. This thread, you're waking up. But how do we know the next reality is better than this reality? What if we really did duck up our planet, and at the end of the 21st century the only way to keep people healthy and alive was to put their consciousness in a simulation? The earth is dying, but we are underground somewhere imagining this. Fables and ideas are recycled because there are only so many survivors. We only have the illusion of 7 billion of us. Maybe it's more like hundreds. How many genuine souls can you say you met in your lifetime? If you're reading this, then you are a survivor as well. We have a pixel size, Planck length, and frame rate, Planck time. There are obvious hacks in our physics. There's a maximum speed and a minimum temperature. There's an observable universe, meaning there's a bounded space to simulate. Also, there's 3 separate sets of rules for physics. The physics for us medium-sized subjects keeps things interesting. But the physics for tiny particles, of which there is an absurdly large quantity, can't be examined individually to limit processor load. Then for the much larger objects, space and time bend, as if they are creating overflow errors. Not to mention, the majority of matter and energy is invisible, as if hard-coded and to keep the universe from collapsing. Minimum temperature totally makes sense, though. Temperature at its core is a measure of the total kinetic energy of the particles in a system. If the particles are not moving at all, then you're at the minimum temperature. Based on our definition, there's no way to logically decrease temperature further, because the system is already at its lowest possible kinetic energy. It would be much weirder if we found out that there was somehow an arbitrary temperature maximum. The whole point is that it wouldn't be obvious. What I want to know is what makes a simulated reality simulated and why that makes it unreal. I think the only reason to regard a simulated reality as unreal is if we exist partially outside of it, like in the Matrix. Even then, it only follows that reality as some conceive it is unreal, not that life within the simulation is unreal. If we exist wholly within a simulation, it is unclear to me what follows other than that reality happens to have a certain structure. For instance, reality could be like a Russian nesting doll.